by Mr. Depp, correct?
No, I'm
company.
paid by the union sets the rate for me.
Right, but you're aware that Mr. Depp has negotiated it and put you into his contract.
Lack
correct?
of foundation calls for speculation.
I'll allow that answer if you can answer it.
Sorry.
You want to ask
You're aware.
the question again? Okay.
You're aware that Mr. Depp has put you into each of his contracts, including how much you get paid and all of your perks, right?
I see it here, but when I'm hired by a production company, I get paid by the production company at my union rate for the job that I'm doing. That's not the rate I make when I'm working on a production.
Okay. All right. Well, let's stay on this one just for a minute, and then we'll take a look at a couple more because you ended up with a lot higher rate pretty soon. But you also had your airfare paid for, correct, for travel?
Yes.
You also were put up in the same hotel as Mr. Depp if he was in a hotel, correct?
Not necessarily all the time.
Right. And if he was in a house, then you got a comparable hotel close by, right?
I got a place to stay wherever we were filming, yes.
And it was comparable.
Comparable to Johnny's? No.
It was a positive, it was a nice hotel, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, productions, we usually stayed at nice hotels.
Okay. So is it your testimony that you didn't know that you were named specifically and the terms of your compensation and your benefits were in every single one of Mr. Depp's contracts?
Objection asked and answered several times, Your Honor.
It has not, and
I'll allow this.
I did not know it was in
Okay.
the contract.
Next question.
Okay. Let's go take a look real quick. I'm going to flip over to 855. And this is a contract December 4, 2008 with Paramount Pictures for Rango. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you were his sound technician there, correct?
Yes.
And if we turn to page 12, which is the second one, if you look down there, your name is right there. You're designated as sound technician, correct? Do you see that?
Yes.
All right, and then let's flip to the next page. And that has $3,500 per week, correct?
Lack of foundation.
Do you remember getting $3,500 a week?
I get whatever the weekly rate is for the union position that I'm doing. I don't know, at this time, I don't recall what the rate was. I don't know if that's what I got or not, but I got what the union set as my minimum rate.
Okay, and again, you didn't know that Mr. Depp negotiated this into his contract? No. Okay, and then if we go down a little bit further here, it has you round trip, coach class transportation. You see that?
Yes.
And then it has hotel accommodations and per diem on the same basis as the crew of the picture on this one, correct?
Yes, but we were in, Rango was in Los Angeles, so none of that would have taken place.
So
Yeah.
it was a lot easier. Then let's jump to Plaintiff's Exhibit 842. And this is Pirates of the Caribbean, July 2014. This would be for 5, right?
Your Honor, lack of foundation. These are contracts to which Mr. Wyatt was not a party.
Your Honor, it's not offered to prove the truth of the contract. It's
And what is it offered for?
all right. Well, let me ask it this way: for Pirates 5, you were in what was your hotel accommodations?
I was staying in a condominium that the rest of the crew was staying in.
Okay, and how much were you getting paid on Pirates 5?
Whatever the union minimum was for my job.
Do you have any idea what it was?
No, I don't recall.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up.
And were you aware that your compensation and benefits were in Mr. Depp's Pirates contract?
No, I did not.
All right. Now, let's go to Pirates 5 in particular. I think you testified that Mr. Depp was he occasionally late a lot to the set?
I don't recall. I mean, he was late, yes.
There were days he didn't show up at all, weren't there?
Could have been, I don't recall.
And there were days that he didn't show up for 6-7 hours, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, He wasn't showing up before Amber ever got to Australia, isn't that correct?
I don't know that.
Do you recall him going on a binge with Marilyn Manson for a few days?
Objection,
I-
lack of foundation.
Do you don't
I'll allow
recall
it.
that? I'm sorry, do you recall?
No, I don't recall.
You don't recall one way or the other, or you just?
No, I didn't visit Johnny when we were in Australia, so I don't know.
Okay, so you
He
don't
had a
know-
house, I had a condominium in town.
So you don't know what was causing Johnny to be late or whether he was taking a lot of alcohol and drugs?
No.
Is that fair to say?
Yes,
Okay. And you said that you observed Johnny Depp talking with Sean Bailey after he came back. And let's go to that. You said there was a 2 to 3 week delay. In fact, it was closer to 5 to 6 weeks, wasn't it?
I don't recall what it was.
It's pretty
I flew-
significant when the entire crew has to stop for that period of
The
time.
crew-
Objection to Ms. Rederhoff's testimony.
All right, I'll sustain the objection and ask the question.
It's pretty significant, isn't it, when there's a delay?
It's significant. I don't think the film completely shut down for all of that. They continued to shoot what they could.
How many of the crew members were impacted by Johnny not being able to be there after after the finger was cut off?
Well, there was some of the crew, I'm sure, still kept working and filming other scenes without Johnny's character in it.
Do you know how many were impacted?
No, I don't.
Do you know how much Disney was impacted?
I don't.
Okay, so now you say when he came back, he collaborated with Sean Bailey, right?
Yes.
And they were talking about how they were going to get together on something, right?
Yes.
Did Johnny do anything with Sean Bailey for the rest of 2015?
I don't know about that year, but I know that they talked about collaborating and doing something. Sean and Johnny had worked out. Johnny working at.
Mr. Wyatt, if you can just answer my
Your
question.
Honor, may the witness please?
no.
She asked the question.
I
He
asked,
should be
did
able.
he collaborate in 2015?
Your Honor, may he be allowed to
Yes,
please
let him
finish his
finish the
answer?
question, answer. Sorry, go ahead.
Johnny and Sean put together Johnny dressing up as Captain Jack and addressing the crowd at the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Your Honor, I'm going to move to strike and ask that to be stricken. That is not responsive to my question.
Your Honor, she asked him the question. Should she?
That's not the question she asked him. You want to ask your question again, please?
Yes. Did Mr. Bailey collaborate on any projects with Mr. Depp in 2015 after Pirates 5?
The one I just said, the project that was a promotional project for
Was it a
Pirates
film?
of the Caribbean. Was it filmed?
Yeah.
I think it was videotaped or filmed, yes.
Was it a feature film that
No,
Disney
it wasn't a
made money
feature
on?
film.
No. All right. Let's go to 2016. Did Sean Bailey collaborate on
I
any
don't
film
know.
project with Mr. Depp?
I don't know.
Let's go to 2017.
I don't
Did
know.
Mr. Bailey collaborate with Mr. Depp on any film project?
I don't know the timing of the other things. No, I don't know if he did or not.
Let's go to 2018. Did Mr. Bailey collaborate at all with Mr. Depp in 2018?
I don't know.
Were you aware that Mr. Bailey said that Mr. Depp was, quote, out, end of quote, for Pirates 6
Objection.
in October of 2018?
Hearsay.
All right, I'll sustain as to hearsay.
Okay, let's pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 115.
You said plaintiffs 115?
Plaintiff's 115. Oh, defendants, I'm sorry. It's defendants.
115.
Now, this is an article in October of 2018. Do you recall seeing this article?
No.
You never saw it?
I don't read I don't read these
All right,
stories
so-
and stuff like that.
So would it be fair to say that you don't know whether Mr. Bailey had determined that Mr. Depp would not be in Pirates 6 as of October of 2018?
I don't know, especially based on this. I don't believe this stuff anyway.
Okay, we can take that down, thank you. All right, let's talk about your visits with Vanessa and the kids and Mr. Depp. You indicated you went on some vacations with them, correct?
Yes.
They were together for 14 years, right?
Yes.
How many vacations did you go on with them?
Several. I don't know all of them.
2, 3,
Probably more than that.
4?
Probably more than that. I don't know. Half a dozen.
Okay, we get to 6? Okay,
Yeah.
6 to 12? All
Yeah.
right. And these are all vacations, right?
After filming, yes.
Okay, so these are times where everybody's having fun, relaxing. It's not your regular,
Yes.
day-to-day grind that everybody goes through, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you have no personal knowledge of whether Mr. Depp ever physically abused Vanessa Paradis, correct?
None that I ever saw.
Right. But you have no knowledge one way. You don't know, do you?
None that I saw.
Right.
Correct.
Right. You don't know what went on in their marriage and their relationship
No.
when you weren't there, correct?
Not when I was there, no.
Okay. And they split up, right?
Yes.
Do you know why they split up?
No, I do not.
All right. You don't know if Mr. Depp yelled or raised his voice at Vanessa Paradis on a daily basis when you weren't around, do you?
Not when I wasn't around, I don't know.
All right. And then you were asked at the very end by Mr. Chu whether you had ever heard of any woman accusing Mr. Depp of violence, and you said you'd never heard of anyone accusing Mr. Depp of violence. Do you recall
Correct.
that? Have you ever heard of Greg Brooks?
I don't know.
He's
no.
a manager on a set from City of Lies who has
Okay.
filed a lawsuit against Mr. Depp for punching
Your
him.
Honor, lack of foundation and
That's fair
object
game, Your
to
Honor.
Ms. Bredehoff's speechifying.
All right, I'll allow it. Go ahead.
I don't know what happened.
Have you ever heard of
I've
that?
never seen him be violent to anybody.
But you testified you'd never heard of that. So had you ever heard of Greg Brooks accusing Mr. Depp of punching him on the set of City of Lies?
Yeah, I've heard it. I don't know any basis of it, though.
So it's not true that you've never heard of anyone accusing Mr. Depp of violence, is it?
I suppose not.
Okay. And you don't know whether Mr. Depp committed any domestic abuse or violence on any of the women in his relationships, do you?
I never witnessed it.
Right. You don't have personal knowledge, though, do you?
Only what I've witnessed, and I've never witnessed it.
Right. You don't know what went on behind closed doors with
I do
any
not.
of them. Okay. Now let's go to the Boston plane. This was in May of 2014. So you were in the car with Mr. Depp before he got on the plane.
Yes.
How long was he in that car?
How long were we in the car?
Yes.
I don't recall. 45 minutes, an hour maybe? I don't recall.
You sat on the tarmac for quite some time before getting on the plane, didn't you?
I don't recall.
You don't recall that?
No.
Okay. And is it your testimony that Mr. Depp wasn't drinking anything while he was in the car?
Not in the car, no.
Had Mr. Depp been drinking anything before he got into the car?
I don't know. I wasn't with him before.
Is it your testimony that Mr. Depp didn't take any drugs while he was in the car?
Not that I recall.
Do you know whether he took any drugs before he got in the car?
I wasn't with him before we got in the car.
All right. And I think you testified in response to the question that you didn't think that he was intoxicated or high?
No, he seemed like Johnny.
Did he take any Red Bulls that you saw?
Took any what?
Red Bulls.
Red Bulls? I don't know. There was occasion where he would drink Red Bulls. I don't know if that was the same time or not.
All right. Was he drinking vodka with any Red Bulls?
I don't know.
Was he drinking whiskey?
I don't know.
Was he taking cocaine?
I've never seen it, no.
Did you see any powders?
No.
Okay. So you get on the airplane, and it's your testimony that Ms. Heard had a bad tone of voice with Mr. Depp. Is that correct?
She had a bad tone of voice with me.
Okay. In fact, wasn't Mr. Depp saying pretty horrible things to Ms. Heard?
I don't recall that.
Like, get fucked on set, get fucked with fucking James fucking Franco? Did you hear that?
I don't recall.
Did you hear him say, at least you fucking liked it?
No.
Did you hear him say, I bet you slipped a tongue in there and you liked it?
No.
Did you hear him say, make references to Amber's pussy and asking her if her pussy was wet?
Your Honor, lack of foundation,
No.
harassment.
Did you hear any of that?
No, not that I recall.
I'll
Okay.
overrule the objection. It's fine.
Thank
Next
you.
question.
Now, you shared an oxygen tank with Mr. Depp on that Boston plane, didn't you?
No.
You don't recall Mr. Depp insisting that the flight attendant give him an oxygen tank and the two of you used it?
No.
Okay. Do you recall Mr. Depp drinking champagne on the plane?
I don't know what he was drinking. I'm sure I was having wine. He could have been having champagne.
Do you remember him drinking a couple bottles of champagne?
I don't know how much.
Okay. And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp didn't kick Amber?
I didn't see anything like that.
Okay. Did you see Mr. Depp go to the back of the plane and pass out and moan loudly?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that either?
No.
Okay. Can we pull up Defendant's Exhibit 245, please? And, Your Honor, I show no objection to it in the filings. So I'm going to move the admission of it, and I'm going to ask it to be published.
No. Any objection to 245?
Yes, Your Honor, it's improper impeachment. It's not to him.
All right. If you want to approach, we'll see what your objections. Do you have your list of objections from your exhibits?
Mr. White, are you aware that Mr. Deuters apologized to Amber for Mr. Depp's conduct afterwards?
Lack of
After the
foundation,
Boston
hearsay, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Okay. Where did you go? Were you with Mr. Depp
Excuse
after
me,
you
Your Honor.
left the plane?
I apologize. May we take this down?
It's just on the witness, but yes. Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you leave the plane with Mr. Depp?
I mean, I got off the plane at the same time. I'm assuming I went to my own home.
Okay, and what was Mr. Depp's state?
I don't recall.
You don't recall if he was passed out or not?
No.
When you say you don't recall, as you're sitting here today under oath, you honestly can't remember if Mr. Depp was passed out when you left the plane?
Asked and answered, Your Honor.
All right. I'll allow it this one time. Go ahead. You can answer, sir.
There was lots of plane flights. I mean, the only reason I remember this one was because Amber yelled at me on that flight.
Do you remember my question?
I don't recall.
All right,
I mean,
so-
I could have gotten off the plane and just left. I don't know.
And Mr. Depp could have kicked Amber on that plane, right?
Your Honor, asked and answered.
Not that I saw.
Okay, and he could have passed out.
Not that I recall.
Okay. How many times were you with Amber and Mr. Depp together?
Oh, I have no idea. No idea.
Well, what would the circumstances have been?
Invited over for something or other, or, Johnny and I may have been recording some music or something, and she was there. I don't know, at work. I don't.
Now, you had a very close personal relationship with Christy Dabrowski, didn't you?
We're friends, yes.
Yes, and you were more than friends for quite a few years, were you
Your
not?
Honor, relevance, may we approach?
It's impeachment.
All right,
It's bias. It's bias.
Approach, please.
Now, you testified that the wedding that you went to, the one in Los Angeles, seemed to be a little rushed.
Yes.
How long were they engaged?
I don't know.
Could it have been a pretty substantial period of time?
I don't know.
Okay. So when you say rushed,
We didn't know a wedding was going to happen.
well, and you said you were at the offices of Ad Infinitum, is that right? Okay. When you say we didn't know any wedding was going to happen, who's we?
Several of the people at the wedding didn't know it was going to happen.
Okay. Now, did you know what Amber's film schedule was?
No,
Did you know whether she was out of town, coming back in, and leaving again?
I did not know.
Did you know what Johnny's film schedule was?
I probably knew we were off.
Because you were his sound technician,
Yeah,
right?
we were
Okay.
starting a film
And
or ending
when-
a film or whatever, yes.
Okay, and when did you leave for Pirates 5?
I don't recall when.
Was he filming right before Pirates 5?
I don't recall.
Okay, so as soon after they did the Los Angeles wedding, they went to the Bahamas, correct?
I don't remember the time difference.
But you didn't go to that wedding.
No,
Do you know how many people did?
no.
Do you know how much organization was involved in getting that wedding together in the Bahamas?
No, I don't know.
Do you know whether, do you know, well, okay, I guess you don't know, so I guess I shouldn't ask you then. So as a practical matter, you don't know about any of the communications between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard for when they wanted the wedding to take place, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay,
Your Honor, I just have a few.
sure. Redirect.
Mr. Wyatt, you testified earlier that you worked with Mr. Depp as his sound technician on more than 10 feature films. Is that correct?
Correct.
Have you ever worked on feature films as a sound technician or in any other capacity on films without Mr. Depp?
Yes, I have.
On those instances and those films not involving Mr. Depp, were your travel costs covered?
Yes, they are.
Were your hotel costs covered?
Yes, they are.
Was your airfare covered?
Yes.
Were those arrangements handled in any way different from the films on which you worked with Mr. Depp?
No.
What was your understanding of why Mr. Depp was late on the set to Pirates 5?
So you use your microphone.
Objection, Your Honor. He's already testified he doesn't know, and he wasn't there with him, and he doesn't know.
Directly related to the cross.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Sorry, say it again.
What was your understanding of why Mr. Depp was late occasionally on the set of Pirates 5?
My understanding was he was having arguments with Amber.
And the wedding that you attended, or the ceremony in Los Angeles, that was right before Mr. Depp was to start filming Pirates 5, correct?
Yes.
Is that one of the reasons Amber wanted to be married right then?
Objection, foundation, here's
All right, foundation. I'll sustain as the foundation.
Mr. Wyatt, you've known Mr. Depp for a long time, correct?
Yes.
And you've worked with him for a long time.
Yes.
Has any woman, other than Ms. Heard, ever accused him of raising a hand to her.
Objection, Your Honor. He's already asked that beforehand, and I went into the cross with it.
Asked and answered. Sustain the
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. Wyatt, and thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Nothing further.
All right. Is this witness subject to recall?
Yes.
All right, sir, since you're subject to recall, you cannot discuss your testimony with anybody and do not watch anything in the news media at this time, and you may be recalled at a later date, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. You have a good day. You're excused for today.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a few housekeeping matters to take care of, and also I know the cafeteria was a little rough yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and give you an extended lunch today until 2 o'clock, so just do not discuss the case with anybody and don't do any outside research, and we'll see you back here at 2 p.m., okay? If you just go with Deputy Lisa. Email that I emailed you. Tell Lucy. All right. Okay, so you said you had some housekeeping matters to take?
I'm not aware of any.
We'd like to speak with you about some of the videos, if you have a moment.
I'm happy to chat with them, but I
Okay, so you don't need me for that. Oh, okay. I thought you needed me for that.
So Your Honor gets an extended lunch.
So I get an extended lunch. Okay, well, what I'm going to do, just to let you know, actually, if you approach the bench.